Welcome to the Open Justice Centre podcast with me, Delia. Real conversations with people across the legal world, sharing journeys, challenges and the experiences behind their careers. Today I'm joined by Patricia Thomson, Chair of the Open University Law Society. Since stepping into the role in 2024, Patricia has been instrumental in creating opportunities for distance students through advocacy workshops, mooting competitions and networking events across the UK and beyond. On this episode, we discuss leadership, accessibility in legal education, advocacy and Patricia's own journey into law. Thank you so much, Patricia, for joining us today on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here.
Okay, so I would like to begin with, did you always see yourself taking on the leadership role as chair?
No, not at all. So I joined the Open University in October 2023. Mm-hmm. And when I was on the module homepage for the law homepage website, I was clicking on all the links, seeing what's there, what advice there is, what's available. And I saw the Open University Law Society, clicked on it, got really excited that a society existed. I didn't know it was a thing. I hadn't been to university before. This is my first degree. And I signed up as a member. So that was great. But nothing came through. Unfortunately, there was no emails coming with any events. So every now and then, maybe every 2 months, I would go onto the website and think, have I missed something? And there wasn't anything until I got an email through saying that unfortunately the last committee had stopped being a committee. That's why there was no event and they was looking for a new committee. And it said what all the different roles were. And I read the role of chair and I thought, those responsibilities are something I could do. Those things it's requiring, they're things that I either have experience in or already have transferable skills. So I thought, well, yes, I'll nominate myself and see what happens. And then that's how it started.
And that was it. And you were through the door and doing this amazing role within the Law Society. That's quite inspiring. So you became chair, I believe, in 2024.
In April, yes.
Yes, so quite early on into your degree. How did you find the balance of being a student alongside the responsibilities of being chair?
So although it was quite difficult at first because I didn't have a formal handover as such, I did speak with the previous chair, but because there wasn't anything in the pipeline, because everything had stopped, it was a case of starting it from new, but then also looking at the rule book to see what we're allowed to do, looking at previous events to know what can be done. Really, I could get more of an idea of what my role actually is. So that in itself was quite difficult, but I actually found it really exciting. And I think that's what pushed me forward to be able to do it, because I was so new to the law degree that I was learning things alongside it. So for example, mooting, I didn't know what it was. I'd never done it. And now I'm the chair of the society that does mooting. So all of a sudden it's a case of really throwing yourself into the deep end to actually find out what is it? What am I meant to be doing? How can I find out more about it? So it was a case of like contacting previous members, contacting people that have been on the committee before to get as much information to then be able to share that to the members. So that actually accelerated my learning because it's something that I wouldn't have known about otherwise.
That is amazing. So you literally threw yourself in at the deep end and swimming.
Yes, I would say
brilliantly. That is fantastic. How would you say the society helps building advocacy skills and the confidence of students?
It's imperative. That's not just my opinion. That's people that have taken part in advocacy. They've said how important it is being to them alongside their degree. Because when it comes to making job applications, it's a must. It's expected to be on there that you've done some form of advocacy in some style or another. Now, some people, they may get that from their individual roles that they have already. So what they do outside of the OU in their employment or other volunteering that they do. But for a lot of people, they don't have that opportunity. So joining the society allows them to then take part in advocacy workshops, advocacy competitions, mooting workshops, mooting competitions. We run an advocacy program, all these different things to help people really develop their communication skills from public speaking to persuasion to everything in between. So if you aren't a member of a society, it can be quite difficult to get that experience, especially with us being a distance learning institution. It's not like we have a mock courtroom that we can use in our university campus. So those opportunities to actually get to take part in that are few and far between. So without the society, they may find that when they go on to make their applications, they don't have anything to put in that box.
That is absolutely brilliant. As you mentioned, we are distance learners. So when it comes to mooting competition, what does that actually entail for students? Do they have to come to London or can they do it online?
Both. So we have the opportunity for both. So this week, so tomorrow we've got a mooting workshop for 2 hours. So that will be just explaining to people what mooting is. A lot of the members won't attend because they've been there before, but for the members that have never taken part or they might need a refresh of the knowledge, they'll attend. So that's all online. So we have people that join us from all across the globe. We have somebody who's bought a subscription today from Ghana. We've got somebody from South Africa who regularly attends. It's not just the UK, which is really incredible to see as well. And a big commitment for some as well because of the time difference.
Yeah.
It does require a lot of planning and organisation for them, which is just incredible alongside their studying. But then we've got our novice competition, which is just held online. So therefore, anybody in the Welsh can participate, providing they have an active membership with us. But then our main competition, which is our Gary Slapper Memorial Mooting competition, that's online and in person. So the first couple of rounds are all online, but to be able to take part, you have to be able to travel to London for the final because the finals are held in person at the Supreme Court.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Can I move on to asking you, what has been your proudest moment as chair?
Oh gosh, that's difficult. I wouldn't say it's a particular event, although we've done some incredible events. I wouldn't say it's that. I would say it always amazes me when I see people turn up, whether that's online or in person. I always think it's so incredible, as I mentioned before, that we've got people from across the country, across the world that attend these events. We don't know each other. We've never met each other in person. I personally now have met people either online or in person, but out of our membership, I'd say I've met about 250 of them now. So that's crazy to think that these people that you've never met, that you didn't know about, that you're now communicating with, just like we are now, didn't know each other today. And I think that it amazes me that if I was to put on a competition and I turn around and see people are there and you think they've put in all this effort to be here. So our final at the Supreme Court last year, April 2025, saw 45 people come. Now, 45 might not seem like a big number, but when you speak to them and hear that they've travelled from Scotland and Cornwall and Bournemouth and Brighton and Wales, you're stood there turning up to this event and you turn around and there's all these people waiting that have come to see this event that you've put on. And I'd say that's an amazing feeling.
Yes, I can see that what you're doing is making an amazing impact on students, not just in the UK, but abroad as well, which is quite an achievement, Patricia, especially for just throwing yourself into that role.
If I could just add as well, just so it's not me, I just want to say as well that if we do like a mooting competition online and the people turn up, so we've got 30 people that come online for the competition. What always amazes me is the amount of effort that they've had to put into it. As much as it may be difficult for me to do all the organisation of it, come up with the idea, advertise it, get people to attend. When these people do attend, the amount of commitment they've had to put into actually learning the moot problem to come up with what their argument's going to be for their submissions, they've put that on top of their studying, which may be 2 weeks of intensive study on an evening and a weekend on top of their already busy schedules. And I'm always amazed by that, to sit there and see that people have put this effort into something that they don't have to do. Although I say it's a must for applications, maybe they're not going to go on to do something that requires that on an application. Maybe they're going to go into like HR or something like that. So I always think that's very inspiring. I always come away feeling really proud of the people that have come on to actually do their submissions.
That is brilliant. So moving on from mooting, what is one dream event or location that you hope to secure for your members? Is there one?
So it would be the Supreme Court, and we already have last year and again this year. So that is the main one. So yeah.
What is it about the Supreme Court for our listeners that is such a big event for you?
Everything. So it's such a prestigious location. Last year we managed to have an actual justice of the Supreme Court judge the competition, with Lady Justice Rose. This year we don't have a justice. We will be finding a judge for this one. But it is such a prestigious venue for people, for them to come and to actually sit in the main courtroom. Last year we were in courtroom 3. This year we'll be in court 1, which is the main one that you see on the telly when any major cases go into appeal. It's that you get to be in a venue that you never would have thought that you'd be in before. And also as well, it does come with a tour. We get to have a complimentary tour of the court as well, and we attend, which is always great because you can actually see the library that the justices use and so on.
Amazing. I'd like to spend a bit more time now talking about your personal journey. What inspired you to study law?
So I wanted to be a lawyer when I was about 14 years of age. I always had this idea that I would be good at it. And I thought, this is great, this is for me. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. My path wasn't linear. I didn't have money to go to college. Although college is free, it's not free for your travel. And the cost of my travel and the cost of lunch and things like that, I didn't have it. I couldn't afford it. So I only lasted about 6 weeks at college before I left. And the one that I chose was actually quite far away from me as well. So the travel was quite expensive. So I left and I went into full-time employment instead. And I've been working and working and working. And then I thought, no, I really do want to go back to it. So I had a look to see what the enrolment dates were at the Open University and then decided to enrol. So for me, I already knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a criminal law barrister. So I already knew that. So it makes it a lot easier for me in terms of what it is I'm looking to do, what extracurricular activities I do and so on, because I've essentially got a set goal in mind. So that does make it easier. So doing the law degree wasn't about doing a law degree. It was about, I want to be a barrister. What do I have to do to get there? You need a law degree. Okay, where can I get a law degree from? Because I need to work. You can do it through the Open University.
Brilliant. So have you found many opportunities being the chair of the society that has enabled your career along?
Yes and no. So there's ups and downs to being the chair. So the great things is networking opportunities. I do get to speak to barristers. I do get to speak to some people in chambers because I'm inviting them to be a judge on a mooting competition, or I'm inviting them as a guest speaker onto the society. So that's great. So that does afford some opportunities as well, going to like the inns of the courts. So Gray's Inn, for example, we went there. So I get to meet Gray's Inn scholars when I'm there. So again, it's more of a networking opportunity. But the downsides of that, because I'm the chair of the society, I can't actually participate in the activities I put on. So when it comes to mooting, for example, I'm yet to do it. I really want to do it. I have to do it on my applications, but I can't compete in my own competition. So there are drawbacks to it.
Will you be finding an opportunity where along the lines to actually participate in some mooting?
Yes, so I will be participating externally. So another issue that I've got is that we can put forward teams to represent the Law Society to go into national competitions against other societies or with chambers if we're invited. Again, I don't put myself forward for that because I'm the person who's responsible for choosing the team. So not picking myself, picking someone else. But there are some external competitions that I can join where they are open to individual members, not societies. So those ones I can join. The only reason I haven't yet is because my time is taken up on the Law Society. But I have been doing some extensive diary planning to make sure that I can manage my time better. And I plan to take time in the summer and again in October so I can finally get that experience.
I'm wishing you every success with that, Patricia. I know you're going to be amazing.
Thank you.
When your tenure comes to an end at the society, what shift do you hope to have permanently embedded in the Law Society?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Okay, this is at the forefront of my mind all the time. I'm always trying to work towards something. I know that I want to leave the society in a better position than I found it in. I think it's really important that people get a formal handover, that they really understand what it is that they want to do. But really, I want it to be that there are set events that come up and the next committee know that's what we do. By all means, tailor it, make it your own, add things to it, make it enjoyable. Everybody's got their own ideas, and I'm sure somebody will come up next and they will have their brilliant ideas to implement. But it would be great if they could say, right, in October, we run our, I don't know, let's say our mooting workshop. In November, we run our autumn advocacy competition. In February, it's our intensive guest speaker month. Whatever that is, that they know there's something to go on. So I've been making a list that I can leave behind of all the things that we do. So for example, external mooting competitions. When I first started, I was lucky that there was 2 that were, I would receive an email saying, hey, we're doing a mooting competition. Would you like to submit a team? Makes my life a lot easier. But since then, I've managed to find more, and we now take part in about 10 competitions a year. So those 10 will be left behind so that the next person already has 10 events ready.
That is amazing. And it sounds as though you've left your mark already. I've actually been a member of the Law Society since 2021 when I started my degree. And it was quiet. So you really have made an impact, Patricia. However you leave the society, just know that you've done amazing work, and it's something the next person coming in definitely can hopefully build upon. So thank you very much. I did want to lead on to talking about how are you adapting competitions to prepare students for a digital future in the courtroom? We hear a lot about how tech is improving and AI. How do you feel the new tools can make the society a bit more accessible?
So I think it's important with us being part of the Open University, as I've already mentioned, with us being distance learning students, it is going to definitely play a part. We had our novice competition that began in October 2024, and it was held in Nottingham at the National Justice Museum. That was great because a lot of us came together.
Have you been looking at ways to bring that energy into the digital space going forward?
So I did actually speak with Francine and asked if we could use the virtual courtroom for the event, because I thought this will make it a lot more interesting for people. But it is something that we do intend to do again in the future, and because I think it is important to try and include, move with the times, really.
Absolutely. And I've seen the work of the virtual courtroom and it looks fantastic. And I agree with you. It would be fantastic for lawyers, especially those of us students coming forward who want to join the bar, to have an idea of how it all works. Can you tell us more about places like the Royal Courts of Justice or the Inns of Court for those students who don't know?
Yes, of course. So if I start with the Inns of Court, there are 4 Inns of Court. You must join one of these if you want to become a practicing barrister. So the Inns of Court play a vital role in becoming a barrister, and they will essentially become your home as you're studying the bar course specifically. So there's 4 inns. So we've got Grange Inn, Lincoln's Inn, the Middle Temple, and the Inner Temple. So you pick one of those 4 to join, and once you join, you are a member for life. So choose wisely, take some time actually deciding which one you want to join. But it is important to know that just because you've joined one doesn't mean you can't ever go to another. You can go there to access the library and things like that. And certain events are open to all students. So you join one of these Inns of Court, you can apply for a scholarship through them to help fund the cost of the bar course. And then once you're completing the bar course, you have to complete 10 qualifying sessions, which you will do through your Inn of Court. And then once you finish the bar course and you've graduated from that, you are then called to the bar by your Inn of Court. So they're really important. What's good about them, though, is that they hold a lot of events to help aspiring barristers along the way. They have a lot of sessions that they do with them. So there might be mooting competitions, debating, but also there could be an application that you can make to them to ask if you can do some court martialing, so shadowing the judge. They would find a placement for you. Also, they can look over your application before you actually submit it for pupillage as well. So they're really important in helping people develop their skills, but also to understand where their strengths and weaknesses are in their application to then improve it. And we hold tours at the inns as well. So we actually go as a society, about 20 of us at a time will go, and we'll have a look around, and then we'll also get to find out more about what they offer, what makes that inn so great. But they do also provide information about the other inns as well, so you can always make an informed choice about which one you're going to join. So the Royal Courts of Justice host the High Court and the Court of Appeal. So that's for cases that are being appealed. They are then sent there for civil and family law matters. But we've been, as a society as well, we went for a tour. So we got to have a look around, got to understand more about the work that they do. And then really quite excitingly, we actually stayed behind to watch some of the cases as well. So we stayed behind as a team, as students, and watched the cases and then discussed them afterwards about what we'd learned and what we found is different than what maybe we expected. Then we could come away and discuss and then see as well, kind of compare how much we understood. Sometimes the cases, especially with it being an appeal, it's so heavily relying on case law and things like that, that it can be quite hard to follow along, especially when you're new to law. But yeah, it was really good and we intend to go there again.
That's some great insights for our students. I wanted to ask you, what have you learned about yourself having done this role?
I'm very good at problem solving. The amount of problems that have arisen since I've been chair is astronomical. Now, that might not sound good. It can sound like, oh, you must have made a mistake. It just happens. It happens to everyone. I can see from looking through previous emails it's happened to everybody before me, and I'm sure, unfortunately, it will happen to everybody after me. I'm very good at problem solving. I joined this thinking that I had good organisation skills, that I had good interpersonal skills, and very good at communication, really friendly and approachable with people, really good at promoting things, so I can promote events, selling them to people, really good at making contacts with people, asking them if they can come and help, all that kind of thing. Public speaking, communication, key. But what I didn't know was that I have really good problem solving skills. And I think that is what's really made me so determined to continue. And I think that's why I've stayed so long, because it's challenging me. It's making me improve as a person. It's helping me see different ways to solve problems, which can help me in a career in the future. But also I'm finding it incredibly enjoyable on that front.
And that is something that you can hold on to say that you've come in to a completely new role and you've done amazingly. So before we wrap up, I'd love to end on something that I think will resonate with our listeners. What advice would you give new students looking to join the society?
I would say join. The membership is £5 for the year, so it's the lowest it could possibly be. Join because there's something for everyone. So we do both online events and in-person events, and we do different types of events as well. So it's not just mooting. We also have guest speakers that come on to give advice and provide insight into the career. So it's never too late to join, because some people know already what they want to do with their law degree, but other people really don't. They're just studying law and then they're trying to figure it out as they go along. The society hosts events that enable them to work out what their career path is going to look like.
That's brilliant. So even if you're not sure about what you wish to do with your law degree, just come along and you can help people with their careers. That's quite inspiring, Patricia. Yeah. Okay, that's such a wonderful note to end on. So thank you for joining us on the podcast today, Patricia.
Thank you for having me, Delia. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you to Patricia Thomson for an incredible, inspiring conversation. And if you're on the fence about joining the Law Society, I think she's made the case better than anyone could. This is the Open Justice Centre podcast. Thank you for listening.